I'm Jay Warnham. I'll be talking about the show Boston Legal, Season 4, Episode 5, Hope and Glory, mainly focusing on the Washington's case. So in this episode, we have our defendant, Joseph Washington, and our actually two plaintiffs, Gwen Richards and the town of Middleton. Now, short summary, Joseph was arrested at age 17 and charged for a rape allegation against his girlfriend, Gwen Richards. He was found guilty and convicted for 6 years before his release and his move to Middleton. In his first court, which was the first trial we see in the episode, he was arrested for driving as a registered sex offender near a neighborhood, which was unfortunately in the path towards his place of employment. The trial was won in his favor, and he was allowed to drive, but due to complications within his personal life, that being registered as a sex offender, he had a lack of homing. So his attorneys, Katie Lloyd and Jerry Espison, recurring characters within the show, decided to appeal his first conviction, the rape allegation, to remove him from the registered sex offender list. Now, the first plaintiff, which we will be the town of Middleton, did not agree with this because, of course, they believed he was convicted for a reason. And they want their families and their children to be safe, so they should in no way release this man to the public or even allow him to drive, which was based on their laws in their town. And I agree with that in some cases because yes, you shouldn't let a registered sex offender near your family, but you can't just dictate like how he gets to a place, because in this situation there was no other way to get to his place of employment. And of course, that was Joseph's argument. He had no other way to get to his place of employment. He had no choice but to drive by this neighborhood to get to his place of employment, which I agree. If he had no other choice, we can't really dictate how he drives or how he gets there, because at the end of the day, he has to make an income. Now, going on Richard's case, her original argument was that it was an act of persuasion and that she did not, in fact, consent to having sex. And persuasion into sex is a form of rape because it is not consented at all and was kind of twisted into happening. And in this fact, it can be seen as true, but there was no evidence. There was no test given, like a lie detector test, none of that. It was purely, that is my dog, and it was purely just hearsay throughout this entire trial for this rape allegation. And instead of actually listening, to everyone, they kind of just blindly accepted her truth. And in fact, Joseph states in his argument that they did not give him a chance to speak, but that Richards did in fact consent and was purely scared of her father's punishment to the fact that she filed rape against Joseph Washington. And now, my personal opinion to this is, it's kind of sad that is a fact, but it makes you wonder why there wasn't another case built up on the fact that she was so scared of her father's punishment that she would put a boy, reminder he's 17, a boy on death row for something he did not do. Which near like more so in the middle of the show, she does admit to that being the truth, and he does get his name removed from the registered sex offender list. Now, in the original case, I honestly, like the rape allegation case, I honestly believe they should have gathered more evidence. That should have been something they looked into instead of just believing whatever this girl said. But in the second, which was the sex offender case, they should have made this a private trial. They actually did this a public trial, so the public was allowed to come, which I understood at the time, but by bringing in the public, they allowed for biases to be built against this man who was innocent in the end. And this unfortunately did lead to his death within the show because he was murdered very much shortly after he was found innocent. So in this case, like putting it into a real life perspective, first and foremost, Joseph would have been convicted for far more time, especially at a time like this, because what Joseph brings up at one point is that he, as a black man, was trialed against a white female who claimed that he, as a black man, raped her. So in this case, he didn't see a win for him at all. And in cases like this, such as the football case, where the football player was convicted of rape and the lady admitted to lying and he still wasn't released because race played a part into that judgment, I was kind of shocked that he only got 6 years, honestly, because you know, you would expect in a place where race played a part that honestly it would be a lot more. But besides that, you know, just truthfully, the case wouldn't have gotten appealed if Gwen did not say he did not in fact rape me. And that is something that was actually factual and truthful about how this case would have played out. But that's all I have to say about this case. And honestly, this show is kind of awesome. So I might actually continue watching this show. Very much so.